Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Sunday, May 28th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below, and if you're looking for my best bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Sunday in Major League Baseball. First up, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. We're going to see Gavin Stone and Taj Bradley on the mound in this one. Now, before we get into it, I'm going to just mention that I'm having some technical difficulties with my microphone today. So I'm using my backup mic for this video. If the audio sounds a little bit different or a little worse, that's the reason. So hopefully we can get that other microphone, this one, working back to normal for tomorrow's video. But, in this matchup, two starting pitchers that really struggled in their last starts. Bradley, 4 innings, 9 base hits, and 4 earned runs against the Blue Jays. Stone gave up 5 earned runs, a homer, and 5 walks against the Braves in 4 innings of work. I do think that Taj Bradley has the higher upside. He's got really good strikeout stuff, 34 strikeouts and 24 1/3 innings of work, and he was pitching really well up until that one start against Toronto. While Gavin Stone, his first 2 outings at the Major League level, both not really successful starts, only 2 strikeouts and 8 innings of work with 7 walks to go with it. I do like the Rays in this matchup at home. I'm going to take the Rays on the money line at Tropicana Field. Next up, it's the San Diego Padres taking on the New York Yankees. Yu Darvish and Garrett Cole are your starters. Great pitching matchup on paper in this one. Garrett Cole really struggled in his last start against the Baltimore Orioles. And the Yankees winded up winning that game in extra innings, but he gave up 5 earned runs and 2 homers in 5 innings of work in that 6-5 Yankees victory. And I think Cole's going to bounce back here. He's facing a Padres team that has not hit righties very well in the month of May. Cole overall this season has pitched better at Yankee Stadium, where he's 3-0 with a 2.09 ERA, 47 strikeouts, and 43 innings of work. And Yu Darvish not coming off his best start either, and he's given up a lot of sharp contact as of late. 3 home runs in his last 2 starts against the Nationals and Royals of all teams. I do think the Yankees get to him, and they've hit right-handed pitchers very well in the month of May. I'm going to take the New York Yankees at a solid price on the money line. Next up, it's the Texas Rangers taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Dane Dunning and Kyle Bradish are your starters in this one. For me, the values on the Texas Rangers currently getting plus money on the money line. As although the Rangers in the month of May have not hit right-handed pitchers very well away from home, that really wasn't a problem in the first game of this series, as they got to Grayson Rodriguez early and often. Although Grayson Rodriguez had 6 strikeouts and 3 1/3, he also gave up 6 base hits, 3 walks, and 8 earned runs. Kyle Bradish's last start, not the best against the New York Yankees. He went 5 innings, 7 base hits, 4 earned runs, and a homer. Only 3 strikeouts with 3 walks to go with it. So, I do think Dane Dunning has just been the better option so far this year. Do I think he's going to be able to sustain that 1.67 ERA? Probably not. He only has 26 strikeouts and 43 innings of work. He's yet to give up a home run this season. However, his ground ball pitches are working. He's a guy that, if he gets into some jams, he can usually get those ground ball double plays to get out of him. So I like Dane Dunning in this spot, enough, especially at this price. I'm going to take the Texas Rangers on the money line on the road. Next up is the Chicago White Sox taking on the Detroit Tigers. Dylan Cease and Eduardo Rodriguez are your starters. Pretty good pitching matchup in this one. And, Dylan Cease has been in better form as of late. His last 3 starts, all quality starts against the Astros and Guardians twice. I think he pitches well here against Detroit. And, the White Sox are facing a lefty in this one. We saw the White Sox hit a lefty one game in this series already against Joey Wentz. Now, obviously, Rodriguez is having a much better year than Wentz has. But the big thing is, the last couple of years and so far in the month of May, the White Sox have hit lefties very, very well. They're a tough team to play when you have a lefty starter on the bump. So, Rodriguez's last start wasn't the best. He went 5 innings, 8 base hits, and 2 earned runs, 4 total runs, so 2 of those were unearned. He had 9 strikeouts, but a lot of base runners as of late, 2 walks to go with it. The previous start to that one was against the Pirates, where he gave 4 earned runs and 6 base hits, a homer to go with it. His last 2 starts, the Tigers have lost both of those games by 2+ runs. So I'm going to take the Chicago White Sox here. I think Cease is in better form. I think the White Sox match up better against the lefty and Rodriguez. In our next game, it's the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Jordan Montgomery and Hunter Gaddis are your starters in this one. Guardians have not hit lefties very well this season. I think Jordan Montgomery has a really good spot to bounce back and earn an important win for the St. Louis Cardinals on the road. Hunter Gaddis, not really my favorite starting pitcher to back. He's had an ERA above 5 this season, only 17 strikeouts in 25 and 2/3 innings. He's in good form, but when you look at the teams he's faced as of late, the White Sox against the righty, not really doing too much. The Marlins against right-handed pitchers, not really either. The Tigers haven't really been a great lineup against right-handed pitchers this season either. So I think this is going to be the toughest matchup that Gaddis has had since he played the Yankees back on April 11th, and we know he gave up 8 earned runs in that game. So give me the St. Louis Cardinals on the money line on the road. Next up, it's the San Francisco Giants taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to see Alex Cobb and Colin Ray on the mound, and this one, Cobb has been fantastic for the Giants. He's been everything that they could hope for and more. In his last 4 starts, 3 of those 4, he's gone 7+ innings. All 4 of those games, the Giants were winners. He's got a 2.17 ERA. Now, sure, he's got better numbers at Oracle Park than he does on the road, but still a 2.57 ERA on the road. You're not really complaining with that. 28 innings, 32 strikeouts away from Oracle Park. Both teams have struggled against right-handed pitchers in the month of May, but I like the Giants in this game. I just think they're the better team, so give me San Francisco on the money line. Next up, it's the Minnesota Twins hosting the Toronto Blue Jays. Jose Barrios and Bailey Ober are your starters. Now, I think it's at the point now where we just can't blindly fade Jose Barrios when he's pitching on the road, as when you look at his last 2 road starts against Pittsburgh on May 6th, 6 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, and an 8-2 Blue Jays win. And then his last start against the Rays, one of the toughest lineups in baseball, Barrios goes 7 innings of 1-run ball, 5 strikeouts, and a 20-1 Blue Jays victory. Obviously, the offense helped him out quite a bit, but still, he was really sharp in that game. And now you're facing the Twins, a team that's very home run dependent. I keep mentioning very powerful lineup, but they do strike out quite a bit. So their run scoring department has been very inconsistent this year. Bailey Ober, a 2.55 ERA, but I do expect some regression in his game. Only 30 strikeouts and 35 1/3 innings of work. And last game was not his best. I mean, 5 innings, 4 earned runs, a homer, 3 walks, and 2 Ks against the Giants, and a 4-1 Twins loss. Don't love him against the Blue Jays, who have been really good against righties in May. So give me the Toronto Blue Jays behind Barrios on the road on the money line. In our next game, it's the Washington Nationals taking on the Kansas City Royals. Mackenzie Gore going for Washington. No official starter for the Royals. Now, Mackenzie Gore has struggled against teams that hit lefties very well. Now, in the month of May, the Royals' numbers have kind of been inconsistent against lefties. They started the month really strong. The last week or so, not as much. But I still don't love this matchup for Gore, who's not really in the best of form going into this game. He's given up a lot of sharp contact, and now his control's starting to fade a little bit as well. 6 walks in his last 2 starts, which was about 10 innings of work against the Marlins and the Padres. And the Nationals have not really done too well in Gore starts this year. In fact, they've lost the last 5 games on the money line when Gore has been the starter. So Kansas City makes a lot of sharp contact, and overall this season they're hitting lefties pretty well with a low strikeout rate to go with it. I like the Royals in this game on the money line, so give me Kansas City money line. Next up, it's the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Chicago Cubs. We're going to see Graham Ashcraft and Drew Smyly on the mound in this one. Now, it's tough to not go with the Reds when they're facing a left-handed starter. They've done very well this season facing lefty starters, but it's also tough to back Graham Ashcraft when when you look at his current form. His last 2 games giving up exactly in 5 innings of work each game, 10 base hits, and 7 earned runs. So 14 earned runs in his last 10 innings of work, 2 home runs to go with it. Now, the first of those 2 starts was at Coors Field in Colorado. You can make the excuse, it's a very tough place for pitchers to pitch. However, pitching the next game at home against the Cardinals, I know it's a very tough lineup, but you can't give up those 7 earned runs. So now you're at Wrigley Field. The Cubs offense has not been great against righties in the month of May, but right around league average in WRC+. But still, just can't trust the form that Graham Ashcraft is in right now. And then Drew Smyly, being a lefty, the Reds have hit lefties very well. We saw him get to Justin Steele in the first game of the series. Steele had a sub-2 ERA going into that start. The Reds scored 9 runs with, I think, 19 base hits in that game. I like their chances to score some runs in this game early on as well. So give me the over in Cincinnati, Chicago. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Colorado Rockies. We're going to see Tyler McGill and Austin Gomber on the mound. And this one, to me, the Mets are just overvalued in this game. I know Austin Gomber has struggled at Coors Field. He hasn't been very good overall this season, but McGill, a 5.56 ERA away from home. His last start, he gave up 6 total runs. 4 of those were earned, 2 home runs, and a 7-2 Cubs win. And, that the Rockies have hit right-handed pitchers pretty well this month. The Mets have not really done too much against lefties overall this season. So, for me, I think there's some value with the Rockies in this game. I'd sprinkle a little bit on the money line, but I'm going to take those 1.5 runs with the Colorado Rockies at home. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Oakland Athletics. We're going to see Christian Javier and Luis Medina on the mound. And this one, To me, it's another spot where it's Astros run line or pass. You got Javier, 3.07 ERA, a 5-1 record this season. The A's have not really done much against right-handed pitchers this month. He's in good form. His last 2 starts, 12 innings, only 2 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. I'd like to see the strikeout numbers, jump up a little bit, but he had 11 Ks and 8 Ks in the last 2 starts before that. The Astros have won a lot of his ball games. I think he wins another game here. And Luis Medina, I do think he's got some potential in his game. I like the fact that he can miss some bats, but still in his last game, 2 more home runs allowed. That makes it 7 home runs in 22 1/3 innings of work. A lot of sharp contact allowed. The A's have lost all 4 of his starts this season, most of those on the run line, so I got to take the Astros here and lay the 1.5 runs. Next up, it's the Miami Marlins taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Yuri Perez and Patrick Sandoval are your starters. Now, I thought going into the series that the Marlins bats were going to be a little bit cold after that Coors Field series, a 4-game series. Usually we see some sluggish bats, especially with no days off in between. But the Marlins bats were really, red hot in the first game of that series. We saw them score 6 runs, and they put up a lot of base hits, mostly singles, but, a couple of extra base hits here and there. And they got the lefty Reed Detmers, 16 base hits total in that game. Reed Detmers gave up 10 of those base hits with 2 walks and a homer to go with it. So facing another lefty here, getting a really good plus money price with a solid young pitcher in Yuri Perez, who's got really good strikeout stuff, 16 Ks and 14 innings of work. I think the Marlins have some value on him in this spot. Sandoval hasn't really been the same Sandoval we saw from last year. Even though he's got a good ERA at 3.47, he's still got some control issues. We saw him give up 5 walks in his last 2 starts and a lot of base hits to go with it. So I'm going to take the Miami Marlins here at plus money on the road. Next up, it's the Boston Red Sox taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks with Merrill Kelly and Tanner Houck on the mound. And this one, another spot where I think we're getting some value with the road team, getting plus money with the Red Sox here, as Merrill Kelly's been very good this season, but mostly on the road. At home this season, a 4.25 ERA, 29 2/3 innings at Chase Field, giving up 4 home runs and 15 walks. Really, the control's been the big problem for Kelly at home. On the road, he's got a 1.63 ERA, and he's 4-0 this season, but 1-3 at home. Tanner Houck, I think, is better than his current ERA, and we saw last start one of his best of the season. 6 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts against the Los Angeles Angels. A very tough lineup to face. I think there's some value here with Boston. I like their chances. Give me the Boston Red Sox on the money line. Next up, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Seattle Mariners. We're going to see Luis Ortiz and Marco Gonzalez on the mound. And this one, I like a lot of underdogs on Sunday, and this is one of them. I like the Pittsburgh Pirates plus the 1.5 runs on the road. Ortiz not my favorite starting pitcher to back, but I just don't understand how Marco Gonzalez can be a -70, -170, -180 pitcher. We saw in his last game he was, -2 something against the Oakland Athletics. We took the A's plus the 1.5 runs, and it was a 3-2 final score. Marco Gonzalez gave up those 2 runs in the first inning. That's all we needed, and I think he's going to give up a couple of runs early in this game. The Pittsburgh Pirates at the beginning of the season hit lefties very, very well. In the beginning of the month, in the month of May, not so much, but overall this season, still, pretty solid numbers in team OPS and isolated power for Pittsburgh against those southpaws. And Marco Gonzalez has just not really been in the best of form. Sure, he gave the Mariners a quality start in that last game, but that was against the Oakland Athletics. Before that, he gave up 8 earned runs to the Red Sox. He's given up a lot of home runs and sharp contact and not missing a lot of bats in between. Only 30 strikeouts in 44 1/3 innings of work. I think Ortiz, who's coming off his best start by far this season, 7 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs against the Rangers of all teams. I think he's more than good enough for the Pirates to cover this run line, maybe earn another outright W in this series. So give me the Pittsburgh Pirates plus the 1.5 runs. And the final game for Sunday's card in Major League Baseball, it's the Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves on Sunday Night Baseball. We're going to see Dylan Covey and Spencer Strider on the mound, and this one, Braves are huge favorites in this game. I would lean towards the Braves on the run line, but just not a lot of value in this one, unfortunately. I guess I would lean towards the under as well, but I do have my regression concerns for Dylan Covey's game. The Braves have been so-so against right-handed pitchers in the month of May, but so have the Phillies. I think Strider's just a much better option here, so I think the Braves do score the necessary runs to win this game and cover the run line in the end. But like I said, not a really good price with the Braves money line at over -300 for this game, so I'll lean towards Braves minus the 1.5. And that's it. Those are the games for Sunday in Major League Baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bet, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.